Hey everybody, welcome back here to A Place to Heal. It's been a minute or two since I've been gone. When I originally decided to take some time off, I was gonna only take like 2 weeks off, and then I ended up going out of town and I brought home a nasty little virus, and that sucker has put me through hell and back. It ended up getting into my lungs and into my colon. And I mean, I know there's a few people out there that have caught this thing and they feel like they're going to die. I'm sure hospitals have just been overloaded. And I refuse to take antibiotics. I refuse to go to the hospital. I'm horrible. And so I had to take a little bit extra time to just really focus on myself and work with this thing and try to see that it exited stage left. So today I'm back and I want to discuss with you why, if you're sick, meat is killing you. And I hope you guys bear with me because I usually have time to sit down and type all this, but I've been so busy. I'm going to be working with chicken scratch today. So, before I get started on this, I want to ask you guys to please be patient with me. On any given day, I'm getting, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, and I run 2 websites. So on every single one of those, I get emails every day. So I'm averaging between 125 to 150 emails a day. So if I don't answer you guys back right away, please bear with me. Sending me 3 and 4 emails is not helping me anything. It's just bogging me down even further. So it's not that I'm ignoring you. It's just that I haven't gotten to you yet. And if I send you a quick response, please don't be offended. It's just that's all the time that I have, and I'm trying to get to everyone as quickly as possible. Okay, so with that being said, let's get to this. All right, so first of all, I want to say that this is in no way, shape, or form a vegan video. I don't want to tell you to go vegan. And this is by no means a pros and cons on meat video. This is a video to help you see why you need to get off meat if you are sick. But then I started thinking about it, and I started thinking, well, how many people do I know that are really healthy and can eat meat? I mean, really healthy. Hell, how many people do you know that are healthy, period, anymore? But then I started thinking, the few people that I can name off the top of my head that are extremely, extremely healthy, they're not meat eaters. So there went that theory right out the door. But so if you are extremely, extremely sick, if you have anything going on, if you have diabetes, if you have kidney disease, if you have anything, fill in the blank, you should not be eating meat. And I'm going to tell you that I'm going to break it down for you so simply that anyone can understand this. So the thing that I started by doing is I put a question up on my Facebook page, and I asked, why do you eat meat? I just woke up one morning, I'm like, why do we eat meat? Really, why? And I told everybody, I said, you cannot tell me just because it tastes good. Any other answer is acceptable. I just cannot accept because it tastes good. And I actually had a few honest answers. One of my followers, she said, well, it's just to calm my insatiable appetite. Another man told me, well, it's because it's what I was raised with. It's what I know. It's my comfort zone. And you know what? I can respect those answers because basically that's why a lot of people eat meat. It's what we've been taught. It's what we've been raised with. It's what we know. It's our comfort zone. But then I had a few others that were like, well, eat meat for the protein. And then I had someone else that said, well, I eat meat because I went raw vegan at one point and it just about killed me. And I was literally laid out on my ass. And I'll explain why that happens later. And I had someone else that said, well, I don't eat meat, but my husband does. And his trainer, bodybuilder trainer, tells him that there's an enzyme that you cannot get in meat, which is true, that you can only get in meat, which is true. You can't get it in fruits and vegetables. And so you should eat the meat to get that enzyme. So, you know, I got a whole bunch of different answers, but basically I thought, okay, I would share those with you before I got this video started. So as I said before, only healthy people should eat meat. So if you've got anything going on, I'm going to explain to you why you should not eat meat. So we got two things going on here. When I do a consultation, most of the people that consult with me tell me that they either have constipation, acid reflux. I mean, I do a lot of kidneys, but most of them are constipation, acid reflux, and digestion. I can't digest my food. I can't go to the bathroom. I spend 3 or 4 days not being able to go to the bathroom. You know, on and on and on. Constipation is a huge issue. And you know it's a huge issue because it's the biggest selling pill there is out there next to antacids. So what ends up happening is you have a nerve that runs down your body. It's called the vagus nerve. And this nerve is what controls your digestion. So, but the problem is that this nerve is a very primitive nerve. It hasn't changed since we were first created. So years and years and years and years ago, when we were out there in the bush hunting animals and stuff, this vagus nerve was always nice and relaxed, except for every once in a while, you know, we got chased by that animal we didn't want to get chased by, and then all of a sudden that vagus nerve would kick in. And that vagus nerve sends signals to your brain saying, we're in danger, there's stress, help. And what it does is that vagus nerve runs through your digestive tract in your colon, and instantly it'll sit there and go, okay, shut everything. It'll slow everything down, or it'll shut it down. Digestion. So now fast forward to today, we haven't evolved from that. And all of a sudden you're at dinner, you've just had this beautiful meal, and you leave the restaurant and you get a phone call that your child's been in an accident, or somebody in your family's been in an accident, or somebody's in the hospital. And all of a sudden it's like, and that vagus nerve kicks in, and guess what's going to happen? All that wonderful food you just had is going to sit in your stomach like a rock, and it's not going to digest because that vagus nerve just slowed everything down, because your body is intelligent enough to do that, because it knows that the minute that you go under stress, it has to help your adrenals and your muscles. So it pulls all that energy from digestion in order to help with the muscles and the adrenals, because you're now in fight or flight mode. Okay, so that is huge nowadays, because when you really start thinking about it, think how many times that vagus nerve is going to kick in. I mean, it's all the time. You're late for work, stress. You get in your car, somebody cuts you off, stress. You hear horrifying news on the radio, stress. You're late for work, your boss starts yelling at you, stress. You know, you get into it with a coworker, stress. Constantly, you're running home late to cook dinner, there's stress. You're running around all stressed out, trying to make your dinner. Your kids are, you know, you're fighting with your kids, you're fighting with your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. Dude, this is like an everyday thing. That vagus nerve is kicking in. It's in overdrive now because of the lives we lead. So a lot of the food that you're eating is not digesting. Okay, so that's number one. So when you are sick, it is best to try to eat lighter foods like fruits and vegetables. Meat is very heavy. And second of all, you want to eat smaller little portions so that if that vagus nerve kicks in, you don't have 50 pounds of food to digest. You only have 1 pound of food to digest. It's a lot easier. Okay, so the second part of this equation of the meat eating thing is that meats are very acidic, extremely acidic. So you have a certain acid that is in your stomach. And that acid, a lot of people believe, oh, I have that acid in there because that acid is what breaks down the meats. That's not true. So try to follow me here. That acid, that hydrochloric acid that is in your stomach, when you start introducing acid foods, which the two worst acid foods there are meats and dairy. I'm not going to cover dairy, but just think protein. Animal protein is the most acidic thing that you can put in your body. You know, during the king days, all the kings used to have, used to have problems with their feet and gout. Why? Because they ate so much meat. Meat is very, very acidic. So what ends up happening when you put this meat into your system is your stomach after a while, I mean, we have an intelligent system going on here. So your stomach after a while goes, oh, she's got this under control. I don't need to make any more acid. Look at all this acid coming down here. I don't need to make any more than is already coming down here. So your acid production starts getting less and less and less. At that point, when half of your acid production is gone, you start to have issues with digestion, constipation, and acid reflux. So the first thing that everybody does the minute they start having acid reflux, just went out to dinner the other day and saw it happen. She handed her husband a Tums instantly as soon as they were done. You head for the Prilosec, the Nexium, the Tums, the antacids. When you have acid reflux, this is not an over-acidic problem. This is when you have that problem, it is not because you have too much acid in your stomach. Okay, when you start having acid reflux, it's because you do not have enough acid in your stomach. So by you taking Prilosec, Nexium, Tums, and all these antacids, what you're doing is you're killing off the little bit of acid that you do have. The other half that is sitting there in your stomach, you're killing it. You are still having acid reflux because what it's doing is it's blocking the signal to your brain and it's saying, oh, we're not having that anymore. But it's still going on because you don't have any acid in your stomach. And you know, this isn't a problem at all if you only eat fruits and vegetables. The problem only stems when you eat protein. Because what happens is that when you start eating proteins, there's something that has to happen in your stomach. So again, people believe that the acid is what breaks down the meat. If you're a cook, you know that you can take like something acidic like apple cider vinegar and you can put it on your meat. It doesn't break down your meat. Acid doesn't break down meat. It'll cook it a little bit, but it won't break it down. Well, it's the same in your stomach. That acid is not what breaks down that protein. The acid is an assistance. It's an assistant to pepsin. Okay, so pepsin is what breaks down the meat, but it cannot break down that meat without acid. It needs an acid base of 2 to 3% acid in order for the pepsin to work. So without the pepsin, that meat is not getting broken down at all. So the pepsin sits there and says, well, I have no acid. I've got to, you know, that's like sending you out into the fields and going, yeah, you need to mow all that, but I ain't going to give you a lawnmower. And you're going to sit there and go, well, I can't mow all this. I got no lawnmower. That pepsin is saying the same thing in your stomach. It's sitting there going, well, how am I supposed to take care of all this meat, all this protein? I can't break it down. I have no acid. So the next thing that happens is instead of that pepsin breaking it down and making it into tiny little peptide chains, it goes in there completely unbroken down. Okay, but then what ends up happening is that when this meat goes into your small colon, undigested, unbroken down, it goes in there as a complete protein. So the minute that it goes into your small colon is gonna, if it could look at you, it would sit there and go, what do you want me to do with this? I don't have any pepsin in here. I can't break this down. How am I supposed to make amino acids? because that's what the small colon does. Once it's broken down and it goes in there, it makes beautiful amino acids for your body. But when it can't be broken down, it's sitting there and it's looking at you going, no pepsin, can't break it down. So the next thing that starts to happen is that all this meat begins to decompose in your small colon. Now, a lot of people are under the impression that the minute you eat the meat and it hits your stomach and it goes into your small intestine, it just goes, and all of a sudden it just comes out of your large intestine. It's not the way it happens. You've got feet and feet and feet of small intestine. It doesn't work that way. It goes into your small intestine and it just sits there and it travels and it travels like a little snail. It's going at snail pace. At the end of your small intestine, there's a little door. It's called an Ezekiel valve, but there's a little door. And what ends up happening is once that food travels down your small intestine and reaches that door, that little valve will open up and it'll dump some out for the large intestine. And then the large intestine has to take care of that issue that just came out. That will travel up your colon, across your colon, down your colon, and out, okay, through those 5 feet. Usually that takes about a day, okay, because that's how you go to the bathroom. You know, you go to the bathroom and then the next day it travels and then you go again. So that's every time that little door opens, it dumps a little out. It doesn't dump the whole small intestine out, it only dumps a little out. So let's take this a little further. Let's say you're very extremely sick. You've been eating meat for years. You've now have no acid in your stomach. Those proteins have gone undigested into your small intestine. They're putrefying in your small intestine. They're decomposing in your small intestine. And you are now poisoning yourself. Literally poisoning yourself. Because that meat is decomposing in there. There's a 99.9%, I know nobody likes to deal with it, but there is a 99.9% chance that you are going to have parasites in there. And so not only is the meat decomposing and causing poisons inside your small intestine, but the parasites are eating off this, because that's what parasites do. They eat off decomposing flesh. I know, this is horrible, isn't it? It's like, I'm changing the channel. This girl's crazy, but I'm telling you, I'm bringing you guys some truth. This is what you guys can't understand why you're sick. I'm bringing you guys some truth here. So the parasites eat, and of course, parasites have to poop also. So they have to defecate. So they're defecating in your small intestine. So here you are calling me on the phone going, Marie, I just feel horrible. I've tried everything. I don't know what to do. And it's like, yeah, because you got all this rotting meat in your intestines and you have all these parasites that are eating and defecating inside your intestines too and making you even sicker. So the first thing Marie does is tell everybody, stop eating meat. And what should have been a beautiful 1-hour conversation, for the next 15 to 20 minutes, I sit there on the phone and I listen to people give me every excuse in the book why they can't stop eating meat. Oh, I'm going to feel bad. Oh, I need my protein. Oh, well, my kids. Oh, well, my husband. Oh, my brother. Everything. I mean, they will defend that meat to the death. It's not my health. I don't care. It's your health. You're the one that has to care. But some people just don't listen. They don't want to listen. They're like, I'll do anything except that. I don't care. You make me want, if I have to walk on water, I'll walk up, but I ain't giving up my meat. No way am I going to give up my meat. Well, that's insanity, because that's what's killing you. It's killing you slowly. So they waste, they don't waste my time. I don't mind listening, but they're wasting their consultation time sitting there defending why they should not get off meat, why they should not get off the protein. The second thing that I get a lot of arguments on are enemas. So I wanted to touch on that. Enemas, everybody had an enema bag until the 1970s. It was like, that's the way you took care of everything. So let me explain to you what's happening. So you don't want to do enemas. I have a lot of people that say, well, I'm going to do colonics. Great. Fine. I'm not against colonics. They go down, they get the colonic done. Well, the colonic takes care of those 5 feet clear up to that door, that Ezekiel valve. Okay, so that's great. You go in there, you clean everything out, woohoo. You may do a series of 2 or 3, you go in there, woohoo, woohoo. So you come home, and then about 5 days later, I get the phone call. Marie, I was feeling great after I had my colonics, but now I feel like crap again. What's going on? Come on, you guys are intelligent. You know what's going on. All of a sudden, that trap door opened and more toxins were released into the large intestines. You can't keep going back and getting colonics. It's just not doable. And let me tell you, I hate to be the one to bring it to you, but it takes 2 years for that. That's a lot of feet of small intestine to clean out. Okay, because it's only giving you that poison. Can you imagine if that small intestine completely dumped everything out into your large? You'd be dead. Your kidneys couldn't handle all the toxins. Your colon couldn't handle that. Your liver, nothing. It would take you out. So it's giving you that poison little by little. It's dumping into the large intestine for you to take care of. So the best thing to do is daily enemas. There's people out there that says, no, you shouldn't do daily enemas. I agree with you shouldn't do high enemas every day because you're going into, you're messing up the probiotics and all the bacteria and everything else. But it's very important to do low enemas, 2 to 4 cup enemas to help get that junk out of your colon. Some people say, well, I don't want to do enemas. I want to take pills. Okay. If you're not digesting the food, if you're not digesting the other stuff that you're taking, if you're not absorbing the minerals, how are you going to digest pills? You're not. So there's a lot of stuff. I mean, you can take Oxymag. That kind of helps a little, but it doesn't get all that stuff taken out. You can't keep beating your body up with with all sorts of things, laxatives. You can't take laxatives every day. You can't, even the herbs, there's like Cascada Sagrada, you can't take that every day. It messes with your colon. But you can, you can safely do enemas every day for 2 years and get that junk. And that's assuming that you stopped eating meat yesterday, because you can't keep cleaning the toxins in one end and keep putting them in the other. You can't. Now, I'm not here to make you vegan. I'm not here to make you vegetarian. I'm here to make you healthy. So what I tell people is, if you want to eat your meat, then do it later on. But you can't eat it if you don't have any acid in your stomach, because that's like putting a gun to your head every day and pulling the trigger. You're slowly killing yourself. So, do yourself a favor, get off the protein until you can build up that acid back in your stomach, which normally takes about 2 years. I know people that have gotten healthy and now they'll eat chicken like once or twice a week, and they don't really have a problem with it because most of the toxins have gotten out, and they give enough days in between for that stuff to move through their colon and move out, the poisons to move out. Just realize that you are poisoning yourself. You can't keep doing that. So, so basically, when you start to realize this is, you can either poison yourself with a man-made chemical, you can either poison yourself, with all sorts of other junk that they sell you, or you can poison yourself with organic matter, pigs, cows, chickens, because that's what you're doing. You're poisoning yourself with organic matter. And a lot of people say, but Marie, I go get my chickens and my beef are, they're raised out there on the farm and they're happy and, they're eating grain. They're not eating grains, they're eating grasses and, they're grass fed and organic. I don't care. If you do not have enough acid to help that pepsin break those proteins down, you've got organic matter decomposing in your colon. It doesn't matter. I hope that I'm making this point here. I want to make sure that I hit this. So basically, the once the pepsin breaks everything down, it starts making amino acids in your small colon. And you need those amino acids to make enzymes. So that's why everybody today is like popping enzymes left and right. Okay, popping enzymes is not the answer. The answer is to clean the junk, those toxins that are sitting in your system, out in order to get those enzymes to begin working by themselves. So you're better off, attacking the root problem than, because it's just as easy to cover up stuff in the herbal world and the holistic world than it is. We're just trading one danger for another. It's like, oh, okay, well, I have high blood pressure. Instead of taking high blood pressure pills, I'm just going to take olive leaf extract. It doesn't work that way. You want to get to the point, and you want to get to the center, and you want to get to the root of that high blood pressure and remove the high blood pressure. That's the whole thing. You always want to get to the root of the problem, just like when you have weeds out in your yard. You don't just want to keep cutting them every day. You want to dig in there and get the root out, and that way you don't ever have to go out there again and cut them anymore. And it's the same. You don't want to trade the white coat world for the holistic world and just do the same thing that you were doing over here. So you definitely want to get to the problem. And that way your pancreas can actually excrete those wonderful enzymes, and you're all good. So investing 2 years of your life, I don't think is a lot to deal with at all. So, and your pancreas can't make those beautiful enzymes without it. I just want to make sure I hit everything that I was going to hit. Oh no, I forgot. So one of the things that everybody tells me is, Marie, the minute I get off of the meat, I feel like my ass is dragging. I am so tired. I feel out of energy and everything else. And let me tell you, I did the same thing. When I got off the meat, about a month and a half after I got off the meat, I was so tired and so lethargic. I cooked myself up some chicken because I'm like, I need that protein. I was really under the impression that I needed the protein, and the protein is what would give me the up. Okay, so what's going on here is, because I get this question a lot, believe it or not, and people instantly go back to the meat. I want you to think of this as a heroin addict, okay? When you're consuming that meat, that is your heroin. You are taking that in, and it is pushing your adrenals, it's pushing your kidneys, it's pushing your body, and it's got tons of all sorts of enzymes and stuff in it that pick you up, okay? So, of course, the minute you take that meat away, the heroin away, it's like any addict. You're going to crash and you're going to burn. You're going to go through DTs. You're going to be, you ever go to a hospital where people are detoxing from heroin? It's like they're just lethargic there on the bed. All they want to do is sleep. They can't. Same thing when you take the meat away. So what do they do for heroin addicts so they don't go through this? They give them methadone, because methadone helps them transcend over to a healthier lifestyle without going through that, and then they can lower the methadone. Okay, so the same thing, we're going to go the same route here. There is an enzyme that you can only get in meat. You can't get it anywhere else. Our body does make it, but it makes it, in vegetarians and vegans, it makes it in very small quantities. And I believe that the reason is because if you ever pick up a Red Bull or you pick up any kind of energy drink, you're going to notice that the B vitamin and the taurine are two ingredients that are loaded in there. Why? Because they make you hyper. But I think in vegans and vegetarians, the energy of the plants and the fruit have such a high vibration that we're already running 100 miles an hour. I have people that sit there and go, Marie, please slow down. I can't keep up with you. And oh my God, you're driving me nuts. because your energy is so, you look at a lot of the raw foodist and the vegans and stuff on YouTube, you'll notice the same thing. Most of them have very, they have tons of energy and they're always burning it off exercising and stuff. So I think that that's why we create it in very small dosages, but you're used to very high dosages. So if you need to get off the meat, I want you to think of this as a drug addict. Go get your methadone. Go get your taurine. Taurine is what's going to help you transform from this to that without you getting the crash, without you hitting the floor, without having your ass on the floor. Because taurine is the enzyme in meat that gives you the energy. So do yourself a favor. Stop making the excuses, because what you're doing is you're just slowly killing yourself over and daily. Every time you put in that protein into your system, you don't have the acid to break it down, and it's going into your small colon. That's more poison that you are putting into that colon every single day. And you know what? I have people that go, well, I eat chicken, but I only eat it like once a week. Poison is still poison. It doesn't matter if you eat an ounce of it or a pound of it. It's still going to poison you. So stop kidding yourself. Stop giving yourself excuses, and stop putting that poison into your body long enough to heal your body. Now, if you're healthy, I don't care. Go ahead, eat all the meat you want. But if you are sick in any way, shape, or form, I don't care if you got diabetes, kidney disease, high blood pressure, anything. If you just feel horrible, you need to start this journey today, cleaning out that small colon and getting yourself all those poisons out of your body. So I hope that I have explained this to you and haven't confused you even more than I normally do. But, I just felt that this was very important to bring to you. It was a huge, huge life changer for me. In the beginning, let me tell you, it was a nightmare. When I first started doing the enemas and I first started moving all those toxins out of my colon, I thought I was going to die. I felt like I was rusting, everything hurt, because you're stirring up all that junk that doesn't want to be stirred up. So, but after about 3 months, I got into the groove, and, it was much better. I know I'm going to get my thumbs down on this video, as I normally do, and I know there's going to be nasty comments, as I usually get them, but, it's like, I'm not here to get thumbs up, and I'm not here to get lovely comments. I'm here, still dealing with that little virus. I'm here to bring you truth, and I'm here to help you to get healthy, the healthiest you can possibly be. So until next time, please stay happy, stay healthy, try not to catch anything, because this stuff is just a nightmare. Love one another, respect one another, and we'll see you next video. Bye-bye.